Hey guys, this is Cadma here from Bitten Apple TV in conjunction with It Came From The Radio. Now we are here at the Long Island Comic Expo. We're here with James Tamer, who's quite a collection of books here that we're going to try our very best to cover them all. How's the con been for you so far?
It's been great. Yeah, it's been a fun day. A lot of great people coming through.
Okay, I like us. Okay, I'm totally like self-advertising there. Let's talk about this book here first.
Sure. This is The Engines of Sacrifice, and it's a collection I wrote. There are 4 novellas in there. Each one deals with a different Lovecraftian elder god. So Cthulhu, Nyarlathotep. They take place in different time periods, from the early 70s to 1980 to the Cold War era to the far future.
And okay, so where did you come up with all of this? Now I need to know, because with all the books that you have, and you wouldn't expect to see this collection all on one table. So I need to know what's going on in that noggin of yours. Like, how did we get this? How did we start with this one?
Well, with this one, I'd written some Lovecraftian-inspired fiction, and a publisher wanted to do another book with me, and they liked my Lovecraft fiction. So we decided to do these novellas, and I created a fictional town called Nicksport, which is actually set on Long Island. And all of the stories kind of take place in or around that town in some way. But the other stuff, I write in a lot of different genres: crime, science fiction, horror, fantasy, steampunk. And I've just been lucky. Editors like my work and ask me to try new things.
I feel like I just get creative just by standing next to you, man. Now, we also have another book here. Resurrection House? I mean, this doesn't sound like a house I'd want to stay the night in. I'm just a little curious.
Not unless you like hanging out with the living dead, yes. So that's a collection of my short horror fiction. A lot of it had been published in other places, and then I wrote some new stories for the book. And it's a mix of historical horror, modern horror, ghost stories, supernatural stories, a couple of monster stories.
So when it comes to all the genres, out of everything that you do have here, you tend to seem to like horror a little bit more.
I do. I write mostly horror. That's kind of my home. But I've done a fair amount of science fiction also, so I enjoy writing science fiction. It's a totally different type of story, and I have to do a lot more research. Got to get the facts right.
So my question is, when you're writing these horrors, what is your personal inspiration behind, because some people like maybe a certain monster, maybe there's a movie that you saw or a story that you heard that just scared the crap out of you, but you loved it. What about for you?
For me, it's usually something historical. I like to do a lot of research and reading, and I find these interesting things in history and just kind of turn them into horror stories. Or it's really what's going on in the news. I get a lot of inspiration from the news for horror stories.
Well said on the news. But historically speaking, which story would you say is your personal favorite? I mean, we're talking about like the original Vladimir as Dracula, but then there's a couple of stories for him, like for that one. So which one is yours history-wise?
You mean stories from history? Oh, that's a tough call. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. I mean, the original Vlad stuff is really fascinating, of course. I'm a big New York person. I've done a lot of reading about the history of New York City, and a lot of my stories take place in New York City in different eras. So the 5 Points era in New York City with the gangs of New York is one of my favorite historical periods to play with.
Have you been on the ghost tour in New York?
I haven't, actually.
You should. It's a quirky fun. And what they do is they make you walk around the city, and then they stop and tell you which place is supposed to be haunted. Which are going to be like, yeah, this bar over here is haunted. I'm like, note to self, not going in there. Got it? Like, but it may be something that may intrigue you.
Yeah, I'll have to try it.
Now, we also have here Kolchak. Now, this is going to get a little bit interesting because some of my viewers who may be too young to know, the older viewers just got really excited. So please break down what you wrote here involving Kolchak. Now, keep in mind, this is not like when you say like reporting, it's not like my reporting. There's no YouTube. There's no written Writ Ralph. It's a whole other different level crossed over with, I guess, supernatural with the Winchester. I guess is the best way to describe it for the younger generation. Take it away.
Kolchak is he's the inspiration for the X-Files. So he's sort of the original Mulder and Scully all rolled into one. And he was the TV show ran for a season. There were a couple of TV movies. Great stuff starring Darren McGavin. And Kolchak was a reporter who just kept catching these supernatural stories. No one would believe him. His editor would never let him publish them, but he had to do all the deal with these supernatural monsters and menaces on his own. And so I was really excited when Moonstone Books asked me to write a Kolchak comic. And the other thing that they threw in, which is a great wrinkle, is they wanted it to all tie in some way to Edgar Allan Poe. So all of the Kolchak stories I wrote involve aspects of Edgar Allan Poe's life or his fiction. And Kolchak goes through that. Kolchak hasn't changed since the 70s. The stories are set in the modern day, but he still wears his hat and his suit that he's known for. He still drives the same Mustang. He's upgraded to a phone from a tape recorder, but that's okay. It's still Carl Kolchak. And yeah, I had a blast working on that.
Oh my God, that must have been so much fun working on that. I know you're wondering how old I am. I'm a little older than what I look like. Don't worry. I'm a strange in-betweener. I watched a lot of things on syndication. Like, I'm as old as I sound, but I'm as young as I look. Now, there's a couple of books here that has our infamous Leonard Nimoy, and I need to know a little bit more about that. I mean, we're living long and prosper. What's going on with these?
Yeah, well, the series lived long and prospered, but then ended. But in the 90s, I was an editor at a company called Techno Comics, and they got celebrity creators to make up concepts that we turned into comics. So we had Neil Gaiman creating comics ideas for us, Mickey Spillane, Isaac Asimov, and Leonard Nimoy. And actually Gene Roddenberry, too. We had some concepts from his estate. And I was lucky enough to get to edit the Leonard Nimoy comic, Primordials. I also edited the Gene Roddenberry comic, Lost Universe. And by that point, Gene Roddenberry had passed away, but Leonard was still around and was very active in working on the series. So I got to work with him directly on developing the story and characters, which was so cool. And the basic concept is that in the distant past, aliens took a bunch of dinosaurs and other creatures away from Earth. And in the present, they're coming back. And now those original Earth creatures are evolved into intelligent, powerful creatures. And so it's what happens on Earth when they come back.
That does not sound like a good time for many people. Sound like they're going to regret that. Like, oh my God, that is so cool. That's amazing. You know everyone. Oh my God, I'm like second degree Leonard, guys. Oh my God, it's like second degrees. I'm so excited. Not even Kevin Bacon. Now, I'm also seeing Tears of Blood. I mean, we're talking like Cherokee, Trail of Tears. I mean, what's going on here?
It's actually a zombie story. And it's part of a series of zombie novellas and short stories I write called Corpse Fauna, which corpse fauna refers to whatever life there is that grows on dead things. So, beetles on corpses and things like that. And it's the second novella in the series. And the Tears of Blood refer to one of the characters in the story who's actually a dead saint who comes back to life as a zombie, but because he was a saint, his body never decomposed. And so he comes back and he has all these weird powers that most zombies don't have. And it's like what happens with all the people who encounter him.
It's like the most hated zombie on Earth. Like, you still get to look good afterwards? That's not fair. You have obviously a very long-standing, beautiful, incredible career. I think it's just amazing just to talk to you. I love the collaboration. I love the little changes that you're doing. Being able to work with Leonard. You got Kolchak over here, and then you have so much going on. That's so super incredible. I'm so jealous right now. I'm hoping one day my books will come up to par when it comes to yours. Now we also have the Side of Good and the Side of Evil. I know I probably should have one on each side, but I think I have two of evil ones who'd like to tell me to stay up late, watch Netflix, and don't go to work. But what are yours about?
Well, that's actually it's a collection of superhero and supervillain stories. It's a flip book. And one side, the Side of Good, is all the stories about the heroes, and the other side is all the stories about the bad guys. And my publisher, eSpec Books, produced that, and I was one of the few authors that got to write a story for both sides. So I wrote a hero story and a villain story.
I feel like I'm interviewing the greatest person on the planet. You got so much going on here. Oh my God. You are an inspiration, my dear. You really are. For those who want to check out Tears of Blood, they want to check out okay, just so the younger people can read it. This is for you guys. Now they're all asking. I thought she was our age, and I'm getting weird questions. Don't leave any comments in the comment section. And they want to check out, for those who are fans of Leonard, they want to just see everything that you're into, because I love my horror, so I got the same love for it. Where can they find you?
I'm easily found online. My website is jameschambersonline.com. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Twitter and Instagram is Mothman1313.
Mothman, really? I should have seen that coming. Should have seen that coming. What did you think of the movie with Richard Gere?
I dug it. It was fun. Not as good as the book it was based on, but it was a good movie.
That movie was a lot of fun. I remember watching that. My mom was like on the edge of her, on the edge of the couch, like, what's going to happen? But my mom said she was married to Richard Gere, and I've been dying to meet him so I could take a picture with him, like, hey, Mom. Almost had Val Kilmer. That was her other husband. Next time I'm going to get these guys. Thank you so much. I really do love what you have here. You have a really creative mind. Like, I like the fact that you're able to do these blends, stay true to the characters. I mean, take Kolchak, you stay true to the character. You're doing this over here. You're creating levels that I think not everyone's able to do, because being able to collaborate, that's not easy, and like mixing things in, because after a while you start to mix in too many stories, there's too many elements, and then you start to lose the power of voice as an author. And I think that's incredible that you're able to still maintain that, still provide depth, and still have a solid book. So by the end of it, they're like, whoa. So fantastic at that. Thank you so much, and make sure you guys check them out.
Thank you so much, too.
Bye.